September 8th, 2025. This is the NI versus AI podcast. I'm your host, Charles Lenart. Wow, I can't believe it's September already. This year seems to be going by really fast. Anyway, I apologize. It's been so long since I've released an episode. I actually recorded one last month on the 8th, exactly a month ago. But I never released it for whatever. I'm not sure why I didn't release it. I thought it was pretty good. I might release it at some point, but anyway, I'm going to deviate from the normal or the new format, which is where I sing you a song and then talk about something. Kind of go back to the old format, which is just talking about something. And part of the reason I'm going to do that is that, gosh, it's hard to get guitar strings these days. It's not like the old days where there were music shops everywhere and you could just go in and buy strings whenever you needed them. No, you gotta go to Amazon. So I ordered guitar strings over a week ago and they're still not here, and they just got a notice today that it's gonna be another week. I'm like, really? Why? It takes 2 weeks to get guitar strings? I mean, geez. And the strings on my guitar right now are, I played it a lot, so they sound pretty bad, and I don't want to burden you with the sound of crappy guitar strings. I swear it almost feels like a conspiracy sometimes. Like, really? Who's holding these guitar strings back from me? But of course, I know that's just paranoid. Anyway, I do have a pretty interesting subject today, which is the problem of evil, which is a pretty old philosophical problem. And, some people have criticized me for, talking about God or whatever. And it's like, okay, dude, I don't care if you call it God or whatever, but it's a pretty fundamental part of, there's a kid on a leash here. Sheesh. Wow, even as I speak of this, something evil is happening right here. Child on a leash in a park. Like, yeah. So anyway, where was I? The problem of evil, and God. People go, it's a pretty fundamental part of natural intelligence to have some connection to the Most High. And some people would say, well, no, artificial intelligence, ghost in the machine, spirits can move through electricity, all this kind of stuff. But those spirits are in like the very lower levels of the astral realm. They're nowhere near the Most High. And so that's like having some, and you can call it whatever you want, source, creator, the all that is, whatever it is, it's there. And if you're naturally intelligent and you're in tune with yourself, then, and you're able to think about things, then it will become obvious to you that it's there, that all this didn't just happen by, mistake. But still, we have those stubborn souls who, your atheists or whatever, who insist, there's no sky daddy. I never said it was a sky daddy, man. That's Santa Claus. That's not God. There's no sky daddy. There's no God. And, the most hackneyed argument they have is, the problem of evil. Like, if God is omniscient, all-knowing, and omnibenevolent, all good, and omnipotent, all-powerful, then why does it allow evil to exist? Why do children die of cancer? Why do wives kill their husbands to get the insurance money and run off with their lovers? Why, do criminal organizations do all these horrible things all over the world? And that's a fair question. It's a very fair question. And they'll be like, touché. And, philosophers have wrestled with this for a long time, and they've never satisfactorily answered it for me. You got Voltaire, and Voltaire deals with it by just saying, all this debauchery and cruelty exists because it's just part of the experience, man. So it's kind of like evil just exists because it exists. You've got what's his name? De Montaigne, who says, evil doesn't really have anything to do with God. It's just people don't know what's up, so they do evil. And there are a bunch of others. Malthus says evil exists because there's scarcity, and people are going to do what they got to do to get what they need to get. And that argument obviously doesn't work, because some of the richest people in the world are some of the most evil. So it's not like they're doing it out of scarcity. So today I am going to solve the problem of evil for you in a way that is satisfactory to me, in a way that no philosopher that I'm aware of has solved it. And here it is. It's like, without evil, good has no meaning, right? So why did, God put the forbidden fruit in the Garden of Eden? It was because he hoped that they would choose to not eat it. Without evil, without the opportunity to do evil, good has no meaning, right? Like, if there were no darkness, then what would be the point of light? So in a sense, what makes good is evil. So if you're presented with the opportunity to do good and the opportunity to do evil, and you choose to do good, then that's what makes the good action good, the fact that you chose it. And philosophers have been wrestling with this problem for so long that they've been wrestling with it before there was even really a concept of like the one, the source, when in a multi-theistic world like Plato, Plato wrestled with this. Why does evil exist, And evil, he just basically tried to define evil, which is a cop-out. I don't like the way Plato dealt with evil. Plato just said, evil is the absence of good. It's like, well, duh, So, other philosophers have ascribed evil to, like Aristotle, I think, was the first one. I might be wrong about that, who said that evil is simply ignorance. Now that I think about it, I probably should have started this off with a definition of good and evil. To me, it's really simple. Evil. Okay, let's go to another philosopher, St. Thomas Aquinas. Okay, to St. Thomas Aquinas, good was doing the will of God, right? And so he used this example, which will sound absurd, but according to St. Thomas Aquinas, rape is slightly less morally reprehensible than masturbation, because at least with rape, there's a chance of having a child. And he would rationalize this by saying, well, God makes sex feel good because this is how we, create children. And therefore, rape is slightly less reprehensible. But no, because rape is like a really good example, like kind of the epitome of an evil act. This is where you're creating pain or trauma for someone else for your own pleasure or gain. That's evil in a nutshell. If you're hurting someone else for your own gain, then you're doing evil. Likewise, if you're helping someone else, even at some expense to yourself, that's good. It's that simple, like evil is just selfishness and like hurting others, and good is selflessness and helping others, So why does evil exist? Well, quite simply because without the choice to do evil, your good deeds have no, they're not really good. They're just the way it is, right? So let's get into the why. Why would you choose to do good instead of doing evil? At a glance, it would seem like evil is the rational choice, right? Because, hey, like Malthus said, it's a scarce world and you got to get what you got to get. But that assumption is wrong. It's actually a very abundant world. Or Voltaire or Sartre or whatever, they might say, well, do evil because it feels good and, it's just part of the experience, so why not? Well, here's why you should choose to do good. Because you're doing magic in every moment of your life. through your thoughts, your words, and your actions, of course. And when all you have when you think about it is time and energy. Okay, and like you could have all the money in the world, but if you don't have any time or any energy, then what good is it? So a good life depends on how you spend or invest your time and energy. And if you spend and invest your energy doing good things, then good things will happen for you. That's really, it's the law of karma. It dupes any kind of whatever Etsy magic spells or whatever. Like, nobody can put any kind of bad juju on you if you're doing good. And let's say you have minions, right? You have people that will do your bidding, help you or whatever. Are they doing that because you're evil? Maybe, but is that going to make them loyal to you? Or is it going to make them want to stab you in the back at the first opportunity? Okay, like if you do good, if you help people, even if they screw you over in the short term, they'll be loyal and they'll help you to achieve your goals. But more than that, it's like if you make a deal with the devil, he is going to collect on his end of the deal. You may not see it at the time, but eventually he's going to wave that contract in your face and say, time's up. Time for you to serve your karmic sentence. I have never seen in my life where someone led an evil, debaucherous, cruel kind of life and ended up on top. So if you help people, people will help you. And if you, serve the Most High and you choose to do good, the Most High will favor you. And I'll leave you with this. So, when I first heard, the story of Solomon, and I heard like 1,000 demons helped King Solomon, to build his temple, I was really puzzled by that. I was like, why demons? What are you talking about? Why not angels? And then I realized it's because, Solomon was favored by the Most High. So every time somebody sent a demon at him, he would go, oh, yeah, really? Okay, yeah, Well, I outrank your boss because I serve the Most High. And guess what, demon? You work for me now. And, so even demons will serve you. They hate to be in the service of the Most High. But first you have to gain the favor of the Most High. And the way you do that is by doing good. And doing good is helping others and choosing that. And bringing this back to NI versus AI, we all know in any given moment what the good thing to do is. No matter what kind of programming has been put into you. You may have been programmed all your life to think, just fuck everybody, just get what you can and blah, 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 blah. But somewhere deep down inside, what the right thing to do is, what the good thing to do is. And maybe you're programming because you're artificially intelligent at this point. You're no longer serving the Most High. You may not care. Like, oh, so what, I did evil. Look what I got. But that shit will come back to bite you in the ass, I promise. So that's the problem of evil. God allows evil to exist because without the choice to do evil, good isn't really good. So, and as natural intelligences, we always know what the good thing to do is. So I hope you'll do good today. I hope you'll be good. Hope good things will happen for you. And Yeah, I'm Charles Lenart. This has been the NI versus AI podcast, and have a wonderful day.